Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Bernard. Today we're going to go through and discuss Mazas Etude number 19. And if we look at the score, it starts piano on the G string with lots of notes under one bow, which is not easy. You have to put pressure on the string to control it. As we go through this in measure 5, we have these hairpin and 3 bars in a row. And so you have, this is a bow distribution issue. We're going to be here. Have to just be leaning into the string to make those hairpins. Got a difficult one on the very last measure of 9. Kind of bring that one out. As far as fingerings in the left hand, I recommend in bar 5 that you play the 4th finger E in the first beat, and in the 3rd beat I recommend you play open so that you keep four notes on one string. In the next measure, measure 6, I recommend the first A is 4th finger, and then in the 2nd beat the E is 4th finger. Again, keeping things balanced. 2 and 2, 2 and 2. In measure 8, I recommend playing 4th finger C sharp. You've been playing a 3rd finger G natural the beat before, and in the subsequent beat you play a 3rd finger G natural, so the 4th finger fits very comfortably there. At bar 10, I start up bow. I just finished in the previous bar down bow. I start up bow. And looking forward here, in measure 15, I recommend a 4th finger D sharp so that you play. And I find it's much easier than trying to play a D sharp and then a C natural and then a D sharp C sharp. This way it's kind of like something completely different. That seems to fit really. So D sharp, 4-1, 2-1, then 3-2 on the 2nd D sharp. And that happens again on the next measure. In bar 20, I recommend, if your hand can do it, I would stay in first position and extend instead of making the shift up and the shift back. But otherwise, the fingering that's in the music is okay. I do little hairpins in this part because it just seems to feel right. I don't know why not, you know. That's what the exercise has a lot of. So I do in bar 20 and bar 21, I do the hairpins. In bar 22, I do the shift a little bit earlier than marked in the music. It starts, now there's an open A, it's a perfect opportunity to make the shift, instead of what they have, where you have to make that break. This way you can make the whole thing legato. Also, I wasn't in bar 23, I'm exaggerating, of course, but that's the fingering that's marked in, and I was able to play. I make the shift on the 2nd finger, on the 3rd finger, on the 2nd beat. 2nd beat. So I'm going to 3rd finger on the 2nd beat of 23. In bar 24, I do that same extension fingering. I just bring my elbow around a little bit. If your finger is long enough, just bring the elbow around to extend for that letter. Do both those bars the same. And then, yes, and then we have that nice crescendo at the very end in measure 30. And if you want to take a little bit of time, you can take a little time. This next section, starting in measure 32, is quite difficult. Many notes on the G string to control that, and a little complicated fingering, and then going over D string. In bar 33, you've got the reach back in bar, extension back and measure 33, the fourth beat. And you have, what I do is I simply go, I play a first finger on the beat, but I play a third finger. So I actually go back to second position fully. They're suggesting crazy fingering to me. I mean, extension back, stay in third, then you're shifting back to first position, where I just simply stay in second position starting in that fourth beat, and then I'm ready to go on the next measure. And of course, I started measure 32 second position, so that saves a whole bunch of extra shifting. In bar 35, the important thing in toward the end of the bar is try to get yourself on the bow closer to the frog, because you got almost two full bars under all those 16 notes under one bow. So you need a little extra bow. So get yourself on this bar 35 when we're coming through here. I shift back to first position, and I've worked my way toward, not, it's going to be in the lower half, and then for that long run. So when you're playing this, just let the bow travel. That's the bow distribution practice that we all need. In bar 38, I highly recommend that you're coming off a high note C here, get the bow on the string right away. And each time you play these long runs going up into forte, get the bow on the string each time. Now, when we come to measure 42, it's going to be quite a little different thing with the bow. We need to use bow on this time, because now we're only one bar under the slur. Right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we got a whole bunch of bars with just one bow. So you have to get used to that. Get the bow moving now suddenly. In bar 45, I recommend, you're playing up bow there, go to second beat, second position. So you don't have to go as far. They've got the crazy fingering, I mean, in my opinion. Going to third position, then back to first position, where I only have to make one shift, and then coming back to first is a natural with the open E. And then we're doing the hairpins. This is surprisingly difficult at 47. You have to just, maybe a musical expression. Take just a little bit of time on the D sharp. This next section, starting in 48, measure 48, is sort of the recap of the etude. It's like the beginning for many bars, and then there's that surprise in bar 55 where I suggest shift right there to a first finger C sharp, and then you have to just do C natural, C sharp, the last two notes, 3/3. That works pretty well. Then you got that little complicated figure at 56 where you've got slightly difficult fingering. I recommend the fourth finger on the last note, open on the fourth beat, open D, and then fourth finger D on the last note. I also recommend that you're thinking mezzo forte all through this bar, so then we have a subito piano coming up on the next measure. this next section, starting in measure 57, again, we're starting subito piano, and it's a complicated fingering, which we can simplify a little bit. In measure 58, the last two notes would be a first finger and a third finger, so again, solidly in second position. And then starting measure 59 in second position, play four notes in second position, and then on the second beat, go back to first position on the B natural. I think you're going to find that's a very nice fingering. You can try what's in the music. It seems excessively complicated to me. This is a simpler second position. And the same thing happens in measures 62 and 63. In this last section, starting measure 65, it's fairly straight ahead for the first two bars, and then I highly recommend at 67 you go into second position on the second G you're playing a second finger, and just stay in that position all the way through the next two bars. In measure 68, I also recommend two beats up bow and then do another down bow, so that you have the long whole note G with a long note up bow crescendo to the last note. Otherwise, the way it's marked in the music, you would be playing that down bow, and then I guess the idea is you're just going to kind of toss it off. It wouldn't sound like very much to me. We're playing this. I don't know. It wouldn't round off the etude. You've done all this work and played all these notes. It seems more logical to. Then you can make a crescendo and a last chord forte. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening, and I hope this is helpful for you to understand a little bit more about this etude. It's a wonderful etude, and so have a great time practicing it and learning it. Okay, take care. We'll see you on the next video.